Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is Monday night, December the 8th, time for the 14 First Alert Weather Show at 9 o'clock. And I'm glad you're here. Of course, as always, you can comment in on the 14 News Facebook page, and we'll check in with your comments about halfway through. We are tracking the return of some clouds overnight, but temperatures are going to sneak down into the middle 20s before those clouds arrive. We may actually see a bit of a warming just before or after sunrise once the clouds get in. And then we have upper 40s tomorrow. Tuesday will likely be the nicest day of the week with sunshine out there, at least during part of the day, and those milder temperatures relative to what we're expecting for the rest of the week. It will warm into the upper 40s again Wednesday, but we have rain on the way too. And then we're going to get sharply colder by the weekend. We will take 2 steps down to get to those teens by Saturday morning, and those will be the coldest temps we've had so far this season. Coldest thus far is 22 degrees, so quite a bit below that. We have this gap right now between the departing weather system and the next one coming in here from the northwest. That one will probably bring partly cloudy skies during the day tomorrow. In fact, our hour-by-hour forecast there showing mainly clear tomorrow and then clouds moving in for Wednesday early. This will be between midnight and 5 a.m. and a few showers then breezing through and possibly a changeover or mix with very light snow showers or flurries then Wednesday night going into Thursday. Not expecting any travel problems or impacts out there. Currently we're at 24 degrees. It has chilled out quite a bit in this hour, and we see around the air, I don't think that's right. It shouldn't be 24, it should be 30. Well, anyway, be that as it may, we will look here. Our lows today were around 30. That's bothered me here. Let me just check and see if we have that temperature also here at the station. Sometimes that'll happen. You know, the observation there at the airport sometimes gets screwed up and it'll give us the wrong info. That seems very cold to me because it was 30 when I left my house just a few minutes ago. So we'll just do a little cross check here. Don't mind me, but you know, all for accuracy here. So well, we're showing 27 on that one too, so I guess it is at 27. We hit 36 this afternoon, and that temperature change from yesterday, of course with 24 out there, we're significantly colder now, 13 degrees colder than yesterday at this time. Our low this morning near normal, the high today still off the pace by about a dozen degrees. And for December now, 36 today. We're back in this groove of mid-30s out there. We'll interrupt that with the 40s tomorrow and Wednesday, and then pull back for some really cold stuff at the end of the week. No significant change there. You know what? I looked this up too. If we had not another drop of rain here in 2025, this would be the 8th wettest year on record, and that goes all the way back to 1897. How about that? So it has been an extremely wet year. Interestingly, some of the wettest years that we've had here in the tri-state have occurred since 2000. Maybe we'll get into that tomorrow night on the weather show. Your commute tomorrow then partly cloudy in the morning, clearing in the afternoon, and the next system spills in here with its clouds. And we've basically got a couple things working here. First off, we have high pressure to the east, and behind that we get this milder air coming up out of the Gulf states. Then the cold front swings through and kind of ends all of that. That's what will trigger those showers on Wednesday, and that will be followed up very quickly by high pressure building into the plains, which then floods us with that sharply colder air from Canada for Thursday, Friday, and then another chunk of it for Saturday, Sunday, and that's where we have our lows in the teens. And it will likely be a little windy there, so we could see wind chills all the way down into the single digits. Again, the coldest we've had so far this year. The GFS model was a little more generous with snow potential there on Wednesday afternoon, snow showers and flurries. And then another system coming in very early Friday morning. Kind of a clipper, fast mover, probably nothing more than some flurries or snow showers with that one. And then it moves out, and we have another chance maybe for some snow or rain Saturday night going into early Sunday. Now, if those temperatures verify for Saturday and Sunday, it would be all snow, not rain here in the area, in the tri-state. And then next week is looking pretty dry. In fact, longer range, both or all the models are kind of drying up on us. The European also painting some rain in there for Wednesday morning. No mention of snow from the European, which is kind of an interesting switch from the GFS. Also indicating there a little snow there early Friday, and nothing over the weekend. So interesting, those farther out you go, the more unpredictable the two models get, which is always the case, but they're really divergent here and have been for the past week or so. 26 degrees tonight with partly cloudy, 47 tomorrow, breezy warmer, 7-day forecast has the 2 warm days and then the 2 cooler days and then the 2 coldest days there, just grouped together for your convenience. The outlook on temperatures returns us to maybe near or slightly above normal to our south and near normal elsewhere here around the region, and drier or near normal for the same period too. All right, pet pick tonight. We are out of pet picks again. I had to bring my own cats in here, so be sure you're submitting some of your favorite pet pictures over on 14news.com. Submit photos, pet pics, and you can put them in there. But here's an update. These are my 3. Of course, you know Sissy and Bobby here, the original Weather Cats. Well, actually, they're the heirs to the Betty the Weather Cat era. After Betty passed a couple years ago, these 2 came. We adopted those from the Humane Shelter. And then my daughter adopted Penelope here from the Humane Shelter, but then she moved and can't have a pet, or can't have a cat where she is. So we adopted the adopted cat. And it's still been a little sketchy at home. They're not particularly, well, the girls don't get along. Bobby gets along with everybody, but the girls still, a lot of hissing, a lot of drama, which I'm told is pretty common with girl cats. So I figure they'll work it out. I'm not going to fret too much over it at this point. All right, let's see if we got any questions, comments here. New Science Corner subject, weather satellites. All right, Jeff Miller, I'll get something in there for you soon. I'm working tomorrow night, then I'm going to be off the rest of the week. As I told you, I think last night, we're kind of playing shuffle here in the weather department. Michael took a week off there, well-deserved, and so we fill those days in, and then we get our time back, and you'll see more of Michael this week. Sue Hutton, what kind? I think Sue must be asking about the cats, maybe? I'm not sure. They are cats. I don't know. I guess they're tabbies or domestic, whatever. He's a black cat with a little bit of white on him, and she's I guess she's a tuxedo cat, right? They both maybe are in that category. And Penelope here is just your garden variety tabby. We don't really have fancy cats, never have. Although Betty was pretty fluffy and kind of had, there was a name for that. Norwegian forest cat was what they thought maybe she came from. She was a stray that just came to our house, so I can't certify anything or anyone there in the cat realm. Let's talk a little bit in the Science Corner tonight about debris detection with Doppler radar. Now, fortunately, we haven't had to use this tool a lot here since the summer, but Doppler radar, and in particular dual polarization radar, is able to tell us a lot more about the weather and the structure of storms and so forth than even the original NEXRAD was. And just to put it really simply, dual polarization means the radar shoots this way and then it shoots that way. So you think of an X, it shoots on the horizontal and the vertical. It's resolving images of the volume as it goes around. And that helps us tell, for example, if there's an updraft, the drop size or the droplets of water, of rain, will stretch a little bit, and dual pole can detect that. Another thing it can detect is the correlation between one object and another, and we call that correlated coefficient. And basically, it's, big word there, we call it debris detection because that's what it does. But what it's looking for is something that's different within the field of precip. So think of it this way. If we have low CC, which would be a debris signature on here, you would have like the Halloween candy ball, right? Everything's a little different. And debris has various shapes and sizes, widths and heights and so on. So it's going to not correlate very well, hence the lower number and then the debris ball or blue signature. On the other hand, if we just have steady rain, stratiform rain, snow, things like that, the droplets or the hydrometeors tend to be uniform in size and shape and such. And so they would have a higher correlation coefficient, right? In other words, they all correlate. They're all similar to each other. And this ability of the radar comes in handy, in particular when we have tornadoes. And to give you an example, this is a three-dimensional look at the December 10th tornado that went across western Kentucky. And so for your storm structure here, and again, I kind of turned it sideways, but here's the hook echo down here. And then going up from that, you have a column of a rotating air, of course, that's also drawing up debris and rain and mud and all that. And so that's what it looked like. But what it was doing, it was in that updraft as it was destroying things on the ground, the debris was getting sucked up into that structure, and some of the debris was showing up on the radar as high as 30,000 feet. And that's how many knew that in the forecast offices and that knew we had at least an F3 or F4 to be able to have the strength to push debris up that high. That debris then was carried by the winds aloft, and in the case of the western Kentucky tornado there, December 10th, that debris traveled approximately 250 plus miles. They were picking up bank statements, letters, stuff like that, photographs clear up in Cincinnati that had been transported by the storm, by the upper level winds from down there. And in a lot of the tri-state, we had dirt that fell out with the rain, a dirty rain after that tornado because of all of that being ingested in. And again, many of these features were detectable on radar because of correlation coefficient. So that's what debris detection does. Hopefully we won't have to use it. Doesn't look like we are, at least for the remainder of this or next week. All right, let me see if there are any more questions. There are not, so I'm going to let you get right back over to, I think The Voice is on over on NBC right now. I will see you on 14 News at 10, and then, of course, again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please stay safe, and I'll see you at 10.